Hello. His favorite class was the Beetle. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday. I always have to double check what day it is when I say that. I'm in a constant state of not having any idea when it is. Is Mario music? I think I would know about that. I've played a Mario or two. Alright, so last time we ended with animations getting really, really weird. And I think what that boiled down to was everything was facing the wrong way, and the whole thing was flipped around in a weird way. So I just trashed the animations and redid them. So they're not quite the same, but it now at least is properly... Oh, that's the wrong scene. Battle. But now at least things don't like do a weird three-dimensional flip around when we're switching animations. Come on, bro. Come on. What would you do? Can you make a Fortnite game? Yeah, he was going through some tough times there. So I did go ahead and make that. I did improve that. I actually flipped the artwork around. I think we need to make our goal to be that all of our artwork, which, boy, that doesn't, well, it's kind of there. You can't, is there no way to zoom in on this any better than that? Is that all we get? I guess that's all we get. Make everything right-facing. That should be the rule. Everything is now right-facing only. That should be what we target for that. But got it working. Everything's laid out. There is depth here. Like, you can just barely see kind of the difference in the slice's depths. But that should really only be noticeable when things are, flipping around. And even then, not by much. I gave him a little bit of a walking animation, which is just like his body tilts slightly. That's it. There's a bit of a jump animation. I am noticing that the animation kind of snaps back. I think that's because of that reset thing I've got going on. I'm not 100% sure how I want to approach that. Just like me, French. But he's looking all right. He's looking all right. We may do some stuff with the animation there. Major things I still want to do is I still want to approach a circular shadow under the characters instead of these actual shadows. I don't care for the look of the actual shadow as much, and I think a circular shadow would be significantly more useful for platforming purposes. The evil snail soldiers in Dabblebot's first epic battle. I mean, the first battle that we actually ever do in Engine is going to be against a placeholder frog, who in the main game will not be an actual enemy, but instead a frog villager. So on that, so far we have that when we push a special debug key on the keyboard in this placeholder battle scene, our little Dabble character runs forward, stops, and then starts charging up his attack. So I guess first thing... Oh gosh, here we go. There's a million little things to program here. Okay, so the system we're using for these battle actions is I'm creating a list of bound functions that will process one after the other. Each action returns whether or not it's done. So the idea is that when we call one of these actions, like move to a location, it is going to say, okay, move towards that location, and when it gets close enough, we are done. versus change animation, which immediately changes the animation and then returns done, because of course it's done immediately.
I'm proud of you, son.
Dad, are you space?
The authorities really
now we're
collaborator.
family again.
A snail collaborator? I hope not. So first thing I want to do is this move actor function. We're going to change that slightly. Instead of moving to a specific target location, we're going to have a new action function called move in front of, I guess. Where the character is just going to move to a location in front of the character that we're targeting. This one's going to be a little bit trickier. It's basically going to be the same as move actor, except our target location is less well defined. It shouldn't move. It shouldn't move. I think we can get away with just saying go to target actor dot position. Except the verticality may not be quite there. I know, yeah. I think Dupu explained it pretty well, or had a good way of phrasing it in his stream. That some people mesh better with different types of systems, and I think Ironsworn was right up his alley. It was a very theater of the mind kind of game where the options were very freeform, and it was just describe the action and I'll roll the dice kind of thing. And there wasn't much in the way of strategy. It was purely narrative. And I think that 5e is the complete opposite of that. What is it? It lets you use Twitch Sings? I have no idea. But yeah, Dungeons and Dragons has always been much more of a heavy system, and I think that just doesn't jive as well. Dobslurks did the text. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. No, yeah, absolutely, Al. I'm 100% with you there. It's rough. And it's sad. Because it's like you want everybody to be enjoying it and having fun. And it's like if it turns out they try it and they're like, not really doing it for me. It's honestly better to figure that out earlier on. You know, better by session 2 than by session 12. Okay. Target position is going to be target action position, except position dot y is going to be equal to actor dot position dot y. Okay. And we're going to change this from move in front of. Ooh, that's going to be an issue, isn't it? Enemy is actors. Frog actor farmer? Yeah, because it just goes into the actor container. So this might work. So move in front of. Okay, so move the player to the enemy. It's gonna put him right on top of it, or it's gonna get really close. Nope, it's not, because that actor does not exist. What is it? actually called? Actors. Oh, frog, actor, farmer. Except Pascal cased. Retry. Yeah, honestly, the campaign is going great. I'm having a wonderful time. Okay, perfect. Except now, don't move him quite so close. Trying to learn. It's a lot. Dungeons and Dragons, despite having a huge market share popularity-wise, is a so-so system, honestly. There are so many really good role-playing systems out there. And they each do something well, I'd like to think. Dungeons and Dragons, I feel like, is the second most complex system. It is a combat-heavy system. There's less rules for kind of social interaction. There's occasionally they'll sprinkle in optional rules for that, but that was a weird thing with Ironsworn, is that everything used the same sort of track system. Like if you're fighting an enemy, well, you got to get the track to the end to defeat the enemy. If you're going on a journey, you have to get that track to the end to get to the last stop. If you're doing a quest, a narrative quest that doesn't have specific points that you're going to, it's still, well, this track represents how far you are in the quest. Yeah, exactly. That's the weird thing, is that so much of the game, so much of the fun stuff in the game is the story and the role-playing. But, 90% of the rules are about combat. The class abilities are combat-focused. But honestly, the combat is fun. I have, no notes. Combat in Dungeons & Dragons is still fun. It takes a while, but it very is a fun little strategy game. It's a strategy mini-game to engage in combat. Yeah. There are some good systems out there, Mac, that there's basically no, or very, very little stats to automate. There are some really great systems that have a rule book that is exactly one page. It's a whole subset, a subgenre of role-playing games called one-page RPGs. And there's a lot of them out there. Some of them very much steer towards the silly side of things. I'm thinking of Honey Heist, Crash Pandas, Lasers and Feelings. You can kind of play a bit more straight. Wild Magic Search. Yeah, that's the worrying part for me, is no tank. Glane has the second most health in the party after Torgan. He has 15 HP. I think Torgan had like 20 something. Would you? So that, well, just to be clear, that is a genuine offer. That is a genuine offer. The secret cat? Okay. I'm not gonna, try and steer things either way, but that is a genuine offer from Hovercat to fill in. Yeah, it's an option. Like I was helping Turtle build out the character, and I specifically mentioned party balance. And I was like, I you know what, Torgan from Ironsworn would actually fill this vacuum perfectly. There's a Torgan shaped hole in this party. person could be Hovercat. There's a possibility there. Being able to bring in more players during a session. It's not unusual. Unfortunately, it's not unusual to have kind of people fall out of a group. All right, we were making a video game. I get nothing done when I'm streaming to you guys. We are never finishing this game. Oh, man. Okay, position needs to be on the side of the actor. So target position dot X. Yeah, if it's like a one-time thing, it makes more sense. The DMPC. Yeah, sometimes you integrate it with the plot. I'm getting nothing done, Hudson. It's all because of you. It was Dorco. Hovercat's here.
Hi.
So yeah, I mean, it doesn't even have to be addressed in the game. I don't remember who was bringing that up earlier in the discussion, but you're not coding. I'm brainstorming. But changes in the party, especially so early in an adventure, can just be hand waved. Just like, nope, retcon. He wasn't even there. It's always been this other fifth person. There's no major plot threads that have to be rewritten. It's so early in the campaign.
Down the road and just be like, oh hey guys.
See, it'd be weirder. It'd be even weirder if a new party member just got added into the group and we wrote that in as like, and then we saw someone walking down the road and decided they'd be a good fit. Like, that's even weird.
You could job interview. I could come up with several different tank characters.
Oh, yes.
And do job interview and figure out which one he wants to join you.
Hovercat has one character that she plays.
They're all gonna be different barbarians with very slightly different stats and backstories.
Hovercat does smash.
Yeah,
that's her favorite. Okay, now 5e barbarians actually have a little bit of strategy. I think. I don't know.
No.
I'm sorry.
Not sure about that.
I don't want to rush into anything, you know. Don't want to say it's a foregone. Yeah, don't want to.
If the whole group doesn't want that,
Yeah.
I don't want to be like
Too
already
rage
have
or
it
not
planned
too rage.
out. Always to rage. So much rage. Thinking does stink, Boo. So right.
Yeah. You know, that may be Dupu's whole philosophy on the Mari Hour. Thinking stink.
Moving
Spells. She did play.
Does that involve a sword? Because if not, no.
I really appreciated one of Dupu's runs today, where he is on the second game in the Mario Hour. He's like, wait, what game am I playing right now? Is this Mario 1 or Mario 2?
Who can
The
say?
genuine confusion. Lunar Magic. Bwah, boo. It's a Mario World editing program. The ROM hacking software.
Oh, because Barb. You
Yeah.
told me that.
Yeah, you know.
You did mention that.
You know Barb. Barb. That's also Hovercat's main character's name is Barb.
Yeah, the first barbarian I did.
The first
was
barbarian
Barb.
she made was Barb. The second was Ari. The third was Anne. It's not a bit.
Yeah. Really? Those were their names.
It's to the point. Meaningful name. It's good.
I've played a rogue before,
You
right?
did play a rogue on the first game that I ran with your dad.
Yeah, and very briefly I played a wizard of some sort.
Sorcerer, I think it
Sorcerer,
was,
yeah,
maybe?
something like that.
I don't remember
It
exactly.
was when I had my hovercat.
There's a wild magic barbarian subclass. When you rage, you roll on a ring. Oh no. Hovercat, we almost lost because of Germ Dove. We almost had a full party wipe last night. Because Germ Dove is a sorcerer with wild magic. And he's really pushing for as many of those random rolls as possible. And he
Someone's
got the
gotta bring the
one
chaos.
that was everyone in a 10-foot radius, you know, everyone in the party, gets the confusion status effect if
So
they fail a
stand
roll.
as
They all failed the
far
roll.
away from Germ Dove as possible.
That's my new plan. Never be near Germ Dove. Yeah, we were already fighting a strong monster who was messing with our action economy. Hello, GameCube. That's true. Actually, you know what?
That was weird. You like called him by his full name.
GameCube instead of GQ.
Yeah.
Felt like he was in trouble.
Yeah.
Game Nathaniel Cube. Get down. Game Cornelius Cube. Let's see. It was I was next to Torgan. Glane was up hiding in a tree. Meanwhile, Germed-Up Sorcerer Dagwin was next to our NPC and Days Druid. And they all got confused. So all three of them could not take actions. And when they did take actions, it was randomly try to stab a random person around you.
Oh no. Even their friends.
And the enemy we were facing got to pick one person per round to immobilize.
Oh no.
So that's 3 of us confused, 1 of us immobilized. So our party of 6 had 2 people actually able to do anything in the first round. Game being a pantasuit cube. Yeah, and then I exploded the Yeti because I happened to have the last HP of the Yeti left.
There you go.
And I managed to do 2 damage. So
That was needed.
I've exceeded expectations. Yeah, a lot of failed saving throws. It was rough. What was particularly rough on most of those effects is that the saving throws were only at the end of your turn. Which means when your turn came, like, you would get frozen. And then when your turn came around, if you were lucky, then you would only miss that turn. If you were unlucky, you were guaranteed to miss the next turn as well. Hot.
Typical pretty much right there.
It's the idea that it's cooler in here that helps. Yeah, it was a rough fight, but we won. It's like I'd love to pull out all my best spells and everything, but I don't get a turn. It was weak to fire, and the people who could do fire damage were confused and couldn't do any damage. Ah,
Just get our old match and just.
yeah. Oh, I found out Pathfinder has specific rules for lighting a pint of oil on fire.
It's getting stabbed a lot. I find most people and things
It was.
are.
We did turn it into a pincushion, which ruined the fur coat.
Are you planning on
Unfortunately.
saving that for yourself?
That was Day's plan. Was try and sell it. They do have that in D&D. I don't remember that in 3.5, and I haven't looked in depth at the 5. But the version 3 rulebook, I read that a lot, like almost cover to cover, just because I was very engrossed in it as a young Dobbs. Why are you looking at me like that, Hovercat? Oh yeah, we should have just stabbed it with the fire sword. Why didn't I think of that? It is weird, like going back and forth, like Saturday playing Pathfinder and Sunday playing Dungeons and Dragons, and going back and forth between the different systems. It does not make it easy. It's like, oh, nice! I got a really high roll. That's probably a crit, right? It's like, that's not how it works in D&D, right? I really like Pathfinder's success mechanism. It's like almost everything in the game is not just success and failure, but success, failure, critical success, critical failure. And it's not just a 20, it is, if you succeed on the roll, that's a success. If you fail on the roll, that's a failure. If you succeed by more than 10, that bumps you up 1 level. If you fail by 10, that bumps you down a level. And if you roll a natural 20, that bumps you up a level. If you roll a natural 1, that bumps you down a level. So 20 is typically a critical success, but for a very hard thing, it might just be a regular success of something you could normally not do. I think that's cool. Or on a particularly very, very impossible thing, it turns a critical failure into merely a failure when you roll a 20. So you get less of the bounded accuracy stuff that 5e is so proud of. And for a limited time, they did not think through how the added stuff will drop people's frames. Good job, Logan. All right, we hit 10 minutes.
Good job.
Thanks. Health, wellness. So strong. Health and wellness. Whew. Sweat. Technically, critical hits just apply to attacks, but it's pretty common to treat ability checks and other rolls as crits too. Yeah, and I think that's more of like a... That's not like the standard rule set. And I may be wrong on this, but I think in D&D that's more of like an optional kind of a variant rule is the critical successes on skill checks. Yeah. It's really cool that they actually go out of their way to define all of these like critical successes for all these different things. It's a ton of different things they would have had to build out rules for, because it's even spells, like spells that actually have to be thrown and target an enemy. It also has a success failure, or if an enemy has to make a save against a spell, then usually if they critically fail, there's additional penalties. Like, oh, not only do you succumb to this, but also you get this effect, on this status effect for 1 round on top of it. Oh, cool, the game doesn't even work. Nice. Whew. That was some biking. Hope you're happy, Hudson. Okay. We're gonna boop this over based on X position. If actor.position.x is less than target actor.position.x. Then our target position should be one to the side and else one to the other side. And this is so that, like, if for some reason we're using this function for an enemy that's moving close to the player, you know, it stands to the right of the player, not to the left of the player. Can you make up something on the fly as long as you're using inventory that's on your sheet? Typically what it is if you describe an action you want to take, the Dungeon Master will explain, like, well, like if it's something that's like, no, that's either super overpowered for the item you're using, like you've got a super cheap item that you're trying to do something way beyond its abilities, then usually it'll be described as, well, based on your expertise, you know that this won't be able to do what you're going for, but you might be able to use it to get a slight advantage on doing this other adjacent thing. Versus it could be that it's something that's like, okay, that's reasonable, but there's a chance of failure, and then the dungeon. Oh, all right, hang on. She's up. I'm gonna go check on her. She's fine now. If it's something that's reasonable to do, but has a chance of failure, the Dungeon Master will usually say, yes, you can attempt this. I'll need you to roll a whatever check. And so you'd roll the dice, add your bonuses, say, I got this. And the Dungeon Master will say either, yes, it worked, or no, it didn't. If it's something that the Dungeon Master's like, yeah, absolutely, there's no reason that wouldn't be a problem, then he just says, yeah, that happens. Good job. Pouring oil on a sword and light it up to add flame damage. So, the official rules are basically, if an item does not say that it can do that, then it can't do that. Items only do exactly what they say in their description, nothing else. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find equipment. Oil. Let's look up the rules for oil here. Oil flask. As an action, you can splash the oil onto a creature within 5 feet, or throw it, ranged attack, treat it as an improvised weapon. On a hit, the target is covered in oil. If the target takes any fire damage before the oil dries, then they take fire damage from the oil, additional 5 fire damage. You can also pour it on the ground. If lit, it burns for 2 rounds and deals 5 damage to any that enter the area. So it doesn't sound, according to the rules, you could not make a fire sword from the oil, according to the rules. That said, if the Dungeon Master says, that sounds pretty cool, let's try it, maybe he'll ask for a roll, maybe he'll just say, it's so cool, do it. But it could turn out that, hey, that is 1 silver piece to upgrade your sword into the equivalent of a magical weapon. That's not very fair, because you're basically getting an effect for free. And he may say, like, okay, in that particular moment, yes, it worked, and it was a fluke, it will not work again. And it's okay, it's totally fair for the Dungeon Master to walk something back and say, okay, yeah, we let it go that time because it was a really cool idea. I've consulted with the rules and found, like, that's not gonna, that's too overpowered for the price. But you've heard that the gnomes of such and such city, anyway, yeah. Welcome back, Hal. There was a brief discussion about rule of cool versus balance. But yeah, ultimately, as written, the official Dungeons & Dragons stance is oil. The rules for oil do not say that you can put it on a weapon to deal fire damage with that weapon. You can throw it on the enemy, but then you have to deal fire damage to the enemy to ignite it. Yeah. But then it comes down to, okay, if it's 1 silver piece to basically always get upgraded weapon on my sword, then it's like, maybe that starts to be a little bit unbalanced to have a flaming sword available, at all times. And then, yeah, you just got to kind of go from there and see what works and what doesn't. All right, let's see if this gets us where we want to be. That seems like a pretty good spot. I have to remember that these things have collision right now. We may need to have some kind of to-do. Should we remove collision between sprites? Probably, LOL. Yeah, we may do some kind of layers thing to say that the sprites can walk through each other when they get loaded. This is all everything here is basically all placeholder stuff while we're figuring this out. Okay, so the next action that happens after the player selects, I want to use the gear bonk attack, whatever, walks up, starts spinning the gear. This is when some kind of minigame happens, some kind of action command, like, oh, push the button at the right time, anything like that. All right, this really drags on. There we go. Okay, so we need an action command. So, okay, action commands need to be pretty self-contained. All right, some different action command mini games in Thousand Year Door and Bug Fables. There's the oh so common hold a button and let go of it when the thing lights up. Like, it's not even a prediction thing. It's like you can clearly see, okay, not yet, now, let go. Super easy baby attack. Should not be super useful. That's your total, just brain dead. Beep, 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 beep. Let go. Similarly, press the button when it lights up. Beep, 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 press. I wonder if I should make a list of these. I wonder if I should start making a big list of these. Let's start writing these out for a bit. On a new scene. I'm just gonna make a notes folder. How about that? Let's keep it in here. I guess we'll text file, perfect. And then call it action commands. .text. Okay. What are the various action command minigames in TTYD, Bug Fables, etc.? Yeah, it makes sense. 1 silver piece does not sound like a lot of resource, but an interact action, that does sound like more of a spent valuable. All right, what are the various action command? Hold button until beep. So that's your hammer swing, or Kabu's main attack. Press button at impact. That's your 1,000-Year Door jump attack, and many others. So improvised weapons have their own special rules. And basically, it comes down to this was not designed for making people get hurt, so it doesn't make people get very hurt. I feel like there's some kind of feat, maybe it's in some weird offshoot source book, but there's some rules for, being better with improvised weapons. Like a barroom brawl feat or something like that. Let's see. What are some other base attacks? Let's talk Goombella. Press button timed to cursor. That's Tattle. Bug Fables actually makes you do it 3 times in a row. So honestly, on the whole, Bug Fables is noticeably harder in its action commands, and I don't think it's because I had the hard mode badge on. I think that only affects like stats of enemies. Okay, what else? Coops. Coops is hold button until not beep, but until a certain meter is full. Okay. Basically, quick time event button tap. Vivian's attack and Leaf's main attack both are, you get a countdown. Beep, 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 beep. And on the beep, it shows you a random button. A, B, Y, X, depending on the game. And then really quickly, you have to press the right button to get the bonus. That one's usually a little bit harder, a little bit more stressful, at least for me. That's a great point, Al. Sometimes it's just flavor. And yes, that is something that I feel like should be like, that D&D, even basic rules, should probably lead with that in some ways when talking about combat, is that HP is not like how much blood is left in your body. Like there's all kinds of the old like 2000 eras webcomics that are all about like, oh, I still got 1 HP, and it, riddled with arrows. It's like, no, that's not how that works. It is a good, sometimes it is actual, cuts and scrapes, but it's more of a good measure of like, almost like luck. It's like, yeah, that attack barely, just only grazed you just by a bit, 10 damage. And then when you run out of those close calls, and then like, oops, that one connected, you're down. Next barbarian I make is gonna have a magical girl transformation sequence, but it's still just this like beefy Conan guy, but in a Sailor Moon outfit. I'm sure it's been done. Okay, what else? Coops is that? Coops is that. Who's our third partner? Flurry. Move wiggly cursor into position. That's Flurry's main attack. That is a weird one. Now, a lot of this, the mini game kind of, not exactly, but sort of flavors into the attack. Like the hammer swing, you're holding left as though you're pulling the hammer back until it's all the way back, and then you release. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's the action of pulling the hammer back and swinging it. Or I can't think of any other good examples, but yeah, that's the idea. Oh, tap button repeatedly. The little mini Yoshi, little baby Yoshi, he does a little flutter jump, and so you kind of flutter by tapping the R button over and over again to get him to flutter through the air into attack position. And then the better you do that, the more damage he can spit out when he gets there. Combat medic. Yeah, I'm trying to play kind of more of a buffing character, but it's honestly I don't have enough of the skills just yet to really be super effective. I've got that heroism spell, but it only affects one person, but it affects them for the duration of combat. I've basically got 2 good buff spells right now, but I can only pick one or the other. Heroism is good because it keeps the tank alive. 3 HP per round of temporary HP. Like that's, the longer the round goes, the better. Oh yeah. And then Fairy Fire, if it connects, everyone just constantly gets advantage on the attacks. Okay, what else? What are some other good examples of action commands? Just so we're kind of like trying to suss out the idea. There's the big special attacks, but those are, special. Those are weird. It feels like all the major ones are basically just like tap a button once, tap a button with timing. There's not a lot. Like this one, like Flurry's attack in Thousand Year Door is kind of like a balance beam sort of thing going on, which is interesting. And it's just like, make sure you're within this range when time runs out, and that's it. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's not save or die. It's just, well, if you don't make your saving throw, well, you're just not going to be very effective in combat for a bit. I mean, Germ Dove's Wild Magic Surge didn't help. Had it not been for that, I think it would have been just fine. The Yeti on his own, I think we could have managed. Just action economy-wise, 6 versus 1. That's pretty good. Exactly. Oh no. Lair actions and the like. Okay. So I think what do we need? So the next action is begin a mini game of sorts. So let's have a new class for this. Or what? Gotcha. Yeah, one big monster. The issue with that is always that it's just going to be a big dog pile. And unless the big monster has some AoE, then you can just kind of keep throwing one player at it at a time, and everyone else pick at it from a distance. Mobs of weak monsters, it's like, that can just kind of feel good to just like mow down sometimes. Okay, where do we want to put this? So, we've got our battle scene. And we want to call a minigame that needs to be available, but I don't think I want it on the Battle Global. So maybe it goes on the Battle Manager itself. So how do we access the Battle Manager from here? Oh, yeah, I know the one. My bard isn't particularly smart, though, so I don't think he would have been able to do much on his own. I love a good liquid pouring puzzle as much as the next guy. Okay, I think what we want is for the battle manager, when it loads, to find the global, this global battle shared stuff, and just kind of inject itself in here. So on global, that one right there. Okay, and that way we can get away with this being part of this class. I think I want to have a separate manager for action command stuff. So let's do that. Let's manage that on its own separate. And you know what? This actually should be. Ooh, this is gonna be. We're gonna see if this is gonna be tricky or not. Should this be 2D or 3D? I gotta think about this, like what things we want to show here. This is probably gonna be a 2D overlay. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay. Action commands. We're gonna see if this works. Okay, so this needs to be a full size, I assume. All right, and I guess this needs to hold all of the different action commands in here. So let's just try one here. We're just gonna have a base control or container. Do we want a container? I don't know that we want a container. I'm not even sure if we want a control command here. I'm suddenly struck by the idea that I'm not sure I know how I want this to work. Like for most of these things, I've got a pretty good idea of which direction I want it to go. Let's see here. Thinking about the way that battles look in TTYD when you're doing an action command. Can I see any of these? Nope. Of course, there's no screenshot of an action actually being in progress. Because why would there be, to be fair? Let's look up action command. Image search and see if that gets... Okay, well, this is the original, but we'll take it. Up here, this is what I'm talking about. These little UI elements that pop up, as well as the description, I suppose. Just something that's sort of, you know, showing you what you're supposed to be doing. Oh, here, the meter for running away. Similarly, that should be part of it. I don't think I want these to be in 3D space. I feel like these almost certain. Well, no. I just thought of Bobbery is a great example of why it shouldn't be in 3D space. Consider Bobbery has an attack where he gets a little targeting reticule, kind of like a Yoshi's Island egg throwing thing, like a little aiming assist, and that needs to be centered on Bobbery, not Bobby, and certainly not dead Bobby. I guess that could still be done, like if I pass in a 3D space. It's gonna suck to do this one way and then realize one thing I want to do is gonna require me to redo a lot of it. Let's just roll with what we got here. Let's just have a let's just throw some text on a it's like we want some 2D sprites and we want some text. So let's just have just text for now, I guess. Text, no, I want label. Great, cool. I don't want this to be centered, not truly. All right, well, whatever. Text. Center it. For now, let's just override the font size. I've not given it much thought lately. Honestly, it's probably going to be until I can think of something better. Five Nights at Freddy's has been the best I've heard. Just a dumb horror game that's not even very good. All right, there we go. We got text. So we would want each thing to be kind of in its own. Yeah, own little node. I guess not a node though, a 2D node, because a node 2D we can control position, I believe. Maybe. Yes. Yeah, we can rotate. We can turn it off. All that good stuff. So we're just gonna call this test action. And I guess each of these may have their own. These may end up being pulled into their own separate scenes once we get a lot of them. For now, we're just gonna categorize them like that. All right, action commands, battle manager. So battle manager is gonna load up. We've got these action commands here. Ultimately, what we're after is that in the global, we want to have an action that says, hey, start the action command, animation, and rules, whatever those are. Those should be pretty well self-contained. They may actually be, they're going to be instantiated. Oh, they're going to be instantiated. That's what's going to, chat, they're going to be instantiated. They are going to be their own little thing, which means they're going to have to be put somewhere. Battle, create a new folder, action commands. Folder name contains invalid characters. I must have typoed something. Action commands. Yeah, I probably hit the, no? What did I hit? I have no idea what I hit. There, probably that. All right, action commands. It's gonna be its own little folder of things. We're gonna move test action out into its own scene. Battles, action commands, test action. And you know what? It's gonna be in its own folder as well. So action commands, well, yeah. We'll do something with that. Because this way we can kind of piece out the individual sprites into folders within this big mess. Okay, so test action. There it is. That's what it looks like. Text appears when it starts. So in our battle, we have no action command at the beginning, but we have a region set up for it. The battle manager can have a function to start an action command. Maybe it takes in a command name or something eventually. For now, we're just kind of trying to organize things, get the code in place, then we'll start parameterizing once we have a better idea of what it's going to be. So, action command scene. We're going to load, and we may end up doing some kind of preloading later. Let's copy the path here. There we go. Then we are our instance is scene.instantiate. And then we actually need to add it to our area. We need a container for that. Action command container. It's a control. So let's see here. We're just gonna load that in right here. Equals get node, and that is right there. Okay, so we've got our container, and we're gonna add child, add the instance, and that's all for now. That's all for right here. So next up, we want to have an action in our list of actions. Hey, thanks for the follow there. Just saw that out of the corner of my eye. I've got chat over here and code over here. And there's a not insignificant number of degrees between the two. All right, so we're gonna have a new function in our battle action system called start action command. This will probably at some point take some kind of key name of what action it is. Again, we're going to parameterize it once we figure out how this should work. What this will do is call that function in our battle manager. Called start action command. And here's where we need to figure out the function. The layout we're using is that each of these actions, once they are on the stack, once they're at the top of the stack, it's just going to keep calling that bound function until it returns true. The idea is that it's kind of a waiting system. It's going to keep trying to move the player in front of the enemy to get him into position, and as soon as they're there, return true, which tells our system, hey, we're done, we can remove that from the top of the queue. And then our next one is, okay, now we're gonna switch animations. Well, that one is done instantly, so we're done with that. Our next one is we want to do the action command. So let's not say start action command, let's just call it action command. Let's have this action command management. Let's have it return the scene itself, the instance. That's going to be actually super good because now we can attach scripts to the individual action commands and have some expected function that we can call on to say like, hey, is this action done? Is this action done? And those can share a list of those can share some logic between them. Like one button press action command is pretty similar to another one, sound effect wise, and a little bit on the UI wise. So let's return that instance. And let's maintain that on this right here, so that we can, if it's null, go ahead and instantiate it and set it, and then just let it do its thing until something. All right, so we should be able to call action command like this, bind it. And now what we should see is when I press the button, player should move in front of the enemy, change animation, and immediately some text should pop up on the screen. Amazing. Incredible display. Willow, you're just in time. The text appeared on the screen when it was supposed to. First try and everything. It is a wonderful thing. Gosh, it sure is. Okay. Next up, then. This test action here should have some kind of code behind it. Oh. We need some kind of shareable logic. I don't know what that looks like. That's exactly what it's going to be. Maybe the shared logic lives in the neighboring, like in here somewhere, maybe? That would make sense. We can put some shared logic there. For now, we're just gonna have the logic live in the test action and nothing else. And what we're gonna do is, right, we need the battle system to be able to peek in and see if it's done. And otherwise, return false. So we're gonna have an is done on this test action command here. And all we're gonna do in the function is just wait for a button to be pressed. What is it? What is that code? Input dot is action just press. Let's just go with jump. Sure. Then is done equals true. And that's it. Okay, so this action is done when I press the jump button. After which we're going to move again, just to kind of confirm to us that yes, it went through and did the thing. So we're gonna move our actor. Player to player dot position plus 4 to the left. That should be it. I think. Target location. Oh, and comma. Okay. So we're expecting when I press 6, we're gonna walk up, change animation, text appears. Space does nothing right now. And now when I press space, we should see robot walk back a little bit. There he goes. Bye. He's gone. Let's just say move 1. I don't know how far he plans on going. Okay, he's just going forever. Wait. Was he stopping right at the end, or was that just because I closed the game? Oh. Oh. I get it. Because at the time that we do this, at the time we bind it, player.position is the current position. So it's this position is player dot position, even though at the time of the action, this is player dot position. Well, that's cool. Nice. That's pretty good. It is, and it's something to do with the anti-aliasing. I really don't know. I really don't know why. Boy, this one kind of drags on a bit too, huh? All right, actors, player. Can't get it any bigger. Sprites. Face. All right, let's play with some of the things here. Well, discard. That doesn't look great. I mean, discard certainly gives it some thickness, but if we take a look here, I think we will find yeah, we got just pure edges there. Alpha anti-aliasing, blend, clip. Let me look into the actual file here. Look at it. This is what it looks like. It's this nice smooth circle. But admittedly, it's like trying to scale it down a lot, which is that's gonna do some things. Ooh. Okay, well that's not what we want. Not even a little bit? No, not even a little bit. Okay, so that's just the raw size there. Oh, good, GQ. I'm looking forward to it. Modulate just changes kind of the, oh, we don't get any opacity changes that we can do. What do I need to change for that, huh? Interesting. Alpha cut. Opaque pre-pass. No, I don't actually want it shaded. Okay, so you can see the rounding there. His face is not supposed to be this big normally. So tired. That looks... All right, let's do this. Let's bring up our test scene. And let's just get the camera nice and close to our little guy here. Remote, player, camera, transform. Z. Let's get it nice and close. Too close, too close. Okay, see, that looks all right at this range. Like, that looks pretty good. Even that looks fine. Yeah, that's on the art. It was supposed to just be some like metal plate panels, but when you're far out, you can't really tell as much. It just happens to line up with his mouth. It's pure coincidence. Okay. All right, pull up the battle scene again. And pull up the camera. Again, that looks fine. Oops. I've screwed it all up. Oh no. Yeah, right there. Right there. What's happening? All right, we're going to move the camera in now. All right, camera. It's fine. It's not fine. This has got to be some, like, weird... Yeah, see, now it's okay. I think it's just, like... I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what to call it. Actors. Face. Why does it do this? Y billboard. What's a Y billboard? X axis will always face the camera. Okay, no, that's not what we want. Okay. For a second there, I was like, wait a second. Is that exactly what we've always wanted? Shaded, no. Transparent. Yeah, we want that on. It's hilarious. But. Alpha cut. Alpha blending. Can display translucent areas. So this apparently can cause sorting issues, which it just did. Yeah, I think that's the one we want. Yeah, that's not good. Maybe screw with this a bit. No. What does this one do? Oh. Well, where's the scissor? Where's Alpha Scissors then? Alpha hash scale. Okay, so that's specifically if you're using hash. Wait, alpha anti-aliasing. Blend? Clip? No? Nothing? I mean, it still looks exactly the same. But like, yeah, look at that. Like there's obviously some problems here. And it seems to be just on the edges, but not of everything. Like, this is, like, the head is fine. It's got these nice soft edges. Same with the body, but not the speaker, not the arms. Oh. Wait a second. I think I'm seeing the issue. Well, not... I'm seeing the pattern. It seems to only be when it's overlapping another Sprite 3D. What do we got? What do we got here? Oh, so that's... Let me watch this video that this guy has recorded to make sure. Yeah, that's a different issue. That is basically the camera is so close. Like, imagine the webcam is, you know, the object in question. It's that the where's an object? Here's a Pokemon card pack. It's that the sprite gets so close to the camera that it's actually on the other side of it. It's kind of traveled through the camera, and that's why it doesn't render. But because cameras aren't physical objects, it's not obvious that that's happening. But yeah, that's that one. But good call out. Yeah, notice how this edge, let's zoom this in a bit. Notice how this edge has this nice softened anti-aliased edge, whereas this edge is crisp and, yeah, really, really crispy. Not in a good way. And at first thought it's like, well, some sprites, you know, it must be something different about those sprites. This sprite is crisp, like the face is crispy, but the head is not. However, the back, the body has a soft edge here, but a hard edge here at the area where it is overlapping another Sprite 3D. So let's see if we can find anything about that. Godot Sprite 3D overlap, and let's throw in anti-aliasing. Let's see here. Seams between interlocking Sprite 3Ds, maybe? No. Not quite. Wait. Bit mapping. No. Hmm. 3D rendering limitations. No. Throw in alpha into our search stuff. Let's see, depth rendering, no. Well, maybe. No. Wait. No. Wait. Hang on, maybe. Just gonna hear that for a bit. Edges with a blocky appearance. Thin lines disappearing. Let's see this guy's image here. I mean, that does look like an anti-aliasing thing. I mean, that is for a 2D game that he probably wants to be pixel art. In which case, yeah, the answer on that question is correct. Yeah, in that case, all you can really do is have thicker lines. Pulp. Pulp. Ah, because it's the opposite of pla. I get it. I get it. Let's pull up the camera and see if there's anything we can change on this at all. Doesn't look like it. Wait. Project settings. Okay. Sure. Rendering. Anti-aliasing. Oh my gosh. Could it be this simple? Just turn on anti-aliasing. I'm still seeing a bit of crispiness here. Oh, yeah, there we go. I think it just so happens that this string of actions puts our player in a sweet spot where we see this issue. So one thing I'm noticing, and I'm not sure if we'll have enough depth to see it here. Yeah, look at this. Watch his face. Watch his face. See that? Pop. It's like it happens pop after he's kind of flattened out a bit. Pop. Now, what if I were to hypothetically move the camera around a bit? Oh, he's back. He's gone. He's back. He's gone. He's back. He's gone. Why? Why? So when he's centered, yeah, it's like when he's close enough to the middle of the screen, he looks fine. But if he gets like over here and is facing a certain direction, then he loses it, but not while he's twisting. It's a very specific setup. See, when he gets over here and he's facing left, then he gets the blocky effect. A quick repeat here. Notice his face is not blocky. His speaker box is blocky around the edges. I'm gonna grab this and pull up paint again so we can zoom in more easily. So we've got a non-blurry face, or we've got a blurred, a smooth face, and crispiness right here, only right here right now. I send him back and forth. And now we've got a crispy face. Now, the fact that the mouth disappears, that's not important. That is a symptom of it being a crispy face. So this all comes down to anti-aliasing, which is if you have a nice, smooth, crisp line. Let me over there. If you have a nice, smooth, crisp line, and then you resize it, if there is no anti-aliasing, then the crispiness remains. Like, look, I can keep making this thinner and thinner. Look at this top and bottom edge. Uh-oh, what happened to my bottom edge? Well, it's just the average of 3 white pixels and 1 black pixel with no anti-aliasing is a white pixel. If there is a anti-aliasing, then the average of 3 white pixels and 1 black pixel is a light gray. And that's what we're seeing here, is the way it's doing the averaging, the anti-aliasing. Here, it's actually mathematically smoothing things out. It's kind of finding the middle ground. But here, it is not. It's just taking whichever pixel is closest to whatever position. That is the problem we're experiencing. It's the best. It's the absolute best. Now if I can figure out why it do this. NSAA 3D slowest and screen space AA. Yeah, and yeah, use all these. Yeah. Oh wait, that does actually look significantly better on the speaker box. All this looks significantly better. Uh-oh. Ugh, that gear rotation doesn't look very clean, but it's there. Okay, so there is one of these settings did something. Let's figure out which one. What is this? Temporal anti-aliasing. Oh. No, we don't want that. We don't want that. That's basic. I feel like that's motion blur adjacent. Dang it. But it is working. That did actually do something. Text. Yeah, see, look at this. It basically, this looks like a motion blur. I do not like it. See what we're getting here? It's doing some weird, basically motion blur stuff. It is, I think, hiding the issue. Dupu text is that's the action command. That's telling you that it's time to press a button. Yeah, it's doing some wacky stuff. Like, it fixed the disappearing face, but it's not what we want. Selectively blurring edges in post-process shader. Like, that's not gonna fix it though, is it? It's almost certainly not gonna fix it. Zoom in, enhance. Yeah, we still have crispiness and a lot of it. It's slightly better maybe. but not by much. What's weird is if you look at this, it's like it depends on the camera angle and all this other stuff, but like in this case, this looks great. This is fine. This is actually what I want. This is not. Why is it doing this? And I think it's because of how close it is to the perpendicular of the camera. Like to the center point of the camera. What angle is it coming in at? Maybe. But so far, it's very consistent that it never gets crispy along the outer edge. It's only when it is overlapping another 2D sprite, but not all the time. Only in certain situations. And it shouldn't be something we have to deal with right away, but I'm worried that we're gonna have to actually do something to fix it. Not sorting. Remove sort from search results. Shadow overlap sprite. I don't see anything. I don't know if Sprite 3D is just bad for this for some reason. Like, it feels like this is the use case of Sprite 3D. What I'm hoping to avoid is, oh gosh, I hope I don't have to, like, convert all of these to plain meshes. Actually, for a few reasons. Those kind of Sprite 3Ds are great for this region rect stuff of being able to define a region for individual sprites off of one image. Material region rect, texture rect. Let's just try it just to see how doable it is. Mesh instance. Oop. Oop. Okay, and then put some art on it. Art. But no. 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 No idea what that is. Super weird. Cornflower, yay! This feels way more complex. I mean, I've worked with these before, but material region rect. That's just the same song. No, give me the... Wait, it is just the same. There we go. Top 25. I don't see a good way to do this without getting really in deep. Let's see here. Godot. Material subset. Texture rect. Okay. Doesn't have a region property. You may have to create an atlas texture instead. Alright, what's an atlas texture? That seems like that would be a pain to do. Okay, so you'd have to do a new atlas texture. New mode. And then a region of that. Okay, so you do all that, and then you can plop that onto the mesh instance. No? No. You can't. Quest. Okay, I mean, that should be fine. And then mesh instance, and then I say, okay, I want to load a texture. And then I tell I want select resource does not match any type. You can't use that. You can't use that, you fool. You can't use a standard material 3D. Godot standard material 3D atlas. Can I use an atlas? Okay, it basically just cool. Good news, everyone. We've made no progress. Except we can still do a battle. And now, there we go. Boom. Okay, so in our battle manager, we do the action command, and then after it is done, switch back to an idle pose so that we're not still charging. Well, and now we're just walking. Okay, so we need another one for flipping around. Oh, actually, I want him to walk backwards. I don't have that anywhere in my code for my actor class yet. It's always Snail's fault. This is facing right business. Hang on. I haven't found a great way in Godot for searching lots of code at once. So where's all this? Okay. Actor sprite handler. So right here, got it. So we're gonna have a new. Not only do we care about the facing, we care about is moving backwards. By default, that's gonna be false. But if ever it does need to be true, if you are okay. There we go. So right now, everything should work normally. Ba, 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 ba. But if I go to player, is facing right. In the actor base, we're going to say that yes, moving backwards. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, moonwalking frog. Okay, so people can now move backwards. So we need a way to set a flag. We're just going to have a generic set flag on an actor. And that's just going to be actor sub flag equals value. Return true. Oh wait, this might not be the, it might be get flag. And let's actually call that flag name. All right. So we're going to change to idle. We're going to set the player's is walking backward, is moving backward flag. In quotes, because we're referencing it by name, to true. Then we move the player. And then we set the is moving backwards to false. Okay, so this is getting a bit more in depth. This system. Oh, what are we having a problem here? Oh, so we need like a set. Don't like that. Is this a thing that exists? Set? We're gonna find out. Here we go. Move over. Wait. It waits for input. We moonwalk backwards, and we're done. Okay. In fact, not only do we moonwalk backwards, we're going to really skedaddle backwards fast. Move at double speed to get home. Boom. All right, regular walk. Wait for it. Wait for it. Beep, 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 beep. Okay. So everything at this point, we are just building out this system so that we can build attacks. Because it's not just going to be the player's attacks. Every enemy's attack needs to be built in this system of, here are the steps. Do this, then do this, then do this. And eventually we're going to have this, I don't know exactly where these are going to live. Like, one option is every attack in the game is in one file, in one big block of code that just defines, okay, the attack called Gear Spinner is this. The enemy attack called Head Bonk is this, and so on. So and we're going to make these a little bit easier as well. So this stuff right here, this set this flag, then do this, then do this. We can actually combine these into one action down the road once we find that, hey, that's a very common thing that we're asking the actors to do, is to walk backwards and then stop walking backwards when they get back to their home position. And so we will be able to basically make this a single action instead of this big complex set of 3 steps. Actually, even this one. That's the plan. So, action command. The action command. It needs to deal damage, right? It's like when you complete the thing. This one's going to be tricky. When you complete the action, different things need to happen based on what you do. Let's consider a jump attack in Thousand Year Door. You would get up to the point of, all right, get ready, it's time for the action command for you to press the button just in time. But at that point, so many different things can happen. What if the enemy is spiky? Well, then this thing happens. What if the enemy is currently under a status effect that makes you miss? Well, then you actually just fly right through them and land on the ground. Stumble a bit, and then walk back to your position. What if the enemy is on fire? Well, then this happens. What if the enemy is electrified? Well, then this happens. What if you miss the timing on your thing? Is that, what happens there? I don't know. There's a lot to it. Guessing letters. Now, right here, this is where things can kind of branch. And it's really weird. Okay. A few things. First off, this test action command. Action commands should clean themselves up. Remove from scene. So after the action command is completed, it can have a little animation where it like flies off screen, whatever. The UI needs to be removed somehow, even if it's just deleted. That's fine. It can deal with that. Either way, I need a way to read its results and to know what command comes next. Who manages that? Does the action command? No. If anything, the interrupts that happen should, I don't know, get rid of the action command or something. Buff banner. Biff batter. Walk up to enemy, spin gear, press button. Does nothing happen? Does something happen? Interrupts should be a thing. This should be... Okay. Hold on. No. Everything up to here. This should be what the action command actually, or what the action, like I choose this action. This is what it does. And then a return to position should just always happen at the end when the queue is empty. But in this middle part here, during the action command, maybe. Ooh, that's tricky. Because sometimes the action command is finished, like the function is done, but we actually are still waiting on the results of it. That's going to be very difficult. Jeez, that's going to be hard. There's a lot of very complicated moving pieces here that need to be synchronized. And as I come up with trickier and trickier attacks, it's going to get harder and harder to manage. Cool. Great. Good job, Doug. You got it. Yeah, the player-based attacks will be the more intricate ones. And some boss fights, I'm sure, will be pretty intricate. But like, minion enemy stuff can be as simple as walk up, bump into player, walk up. Gear, press the button, deal damage. Let's just damage. Yeah. Who cares? Is there a spread operator in GD script like there is in yes, sir. No. Because what I'm seeing here is I want some things to happen asynchronously. Like I want to branch this action tree. Because yeah, I want right here, when I hit this action command and hit the enemy, I want the enemy to change to a hurt animation and display damage numbers, and then if it is taken out, I want it to display the death animation. There's a lot there. But I don't want the player to be sitting here waiting for all that to happen before it starts walking back home. Well, maybe it's okay if that happens. Let's try that. Alright. Change animation of the enemy to hurt until the player gets home, at which point enemy changes back to idle. Go. Yeah! Yeah, I guess that's fine. No, it's not fine. It's not great at all. That needs to be happening for at least X number of seconds. It needs to be a very individualized thing that we're waiting on. I don't want it to be based on how long it takes for the player to get back home. Do I? Like, I could include a just wait action. Oh no. Uh-oh. So I would need... Delta. I need to get Delta in there somewhere. That's not happening. because that happens in process battle actions. So. Like a now. Classic Dooku. Get ticks. Will this function will wrap after 500 million years, so I gotta be aware of that. Do I need to do? I need a time dot, or is this fine? Okay, there we go. If current time minus wait start is greater than equal to milliseconds, then hey, we did it. We waited long enough. Null it out. Return true. Otherwise, return false. We're good. We're good. Cool. So we'll say wait for one. No, let's go crazy to start with while we're testing this to make sure that this action works. The wait action. Pow! Okay, it works. Great. Cool. Some of this has to be determined after the fact. Like, we can't just throw a death animation in. Yeah, some of this is, we're not going to have this as part of the stack of, you know, here's how you do the gear charge attack. It doesn't include the function for hurt and changing animations of the enemy. That will all happen separately somehow. Just don't know how exactly. It's basically going to be after doing the action. After doing the action, and the action command is done, then our process function is going to say, okay, as a result of that, you know, after that is completed, move back home, wait a bit if anyone is hurt, set their animations back to normal if we need to, all that. So really, this is the big mystery. Different results here, depending on the results of the action command. We'll know when it's done. Sort of. I don't feel like the action command should have to worry about things like, oh, did you jump on a spiky enemy? That's not where that belongs. We want the action command to just focus on, did you push the button at the right time? Everything else is unimportant. Well, not unimportant, but should be handled elsewhere. This code base is going to get gnarly really fast. But I think that does mean that almost you could call this a working battle system. Pow! Oh no, we're killing him. That's true. I should do a refresh of the minigames at some point. Really screw with things. Yeah, any punctuation marks you see. Tree, exit, tree, I don't know. How do what is the function? Queue free. All right, cool. We were beating up that frog good. We'll see if I make any progress on this off stream tomorrow. This is technically a battle system, guys. Look, we're hitting him. Pow! Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Pow! See? Totally a battle system. Now, there's still a lot of weirdness. The anti-aliasing is weird, and for the most part, it's not a problem until it suddenly is. I'd like to find a good solution to that doesn't involve replacing everything with meshes, like plain meshes instead of just 3D sprites. But we'll see. This is so weird. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It's only certain instances, and it's just dumb. All right. Such a good song. It seems like it's anti-aliasing sometimes, but not always. I just don't know yet. I just don't know. It's not bothering me a ton, but it will. Pow! I need an animation for him to actually like, wha-pow! You know, wha-pow! All right, let's go look at some. Let's go look at some Pokemon cards. I'm about to go to bed though. Thank you all for hanging out. I will be back on Wednesday. Friday is unlikely, but we'll see. Have a good night, everybody. I will see you around. Have a good night.